And then my second question, very quickly, I have a very good friend, Margaret, and I've known her a little, almost a year.
Yes.
And our relationship has grown very strong, and it's very funny because it doesn't scare me. I find it very interesting.
What doesn't scare you, man?
A lot of times our thoughts are the same. We'll be watching something or listening to something, and we will blurt out the same exact words at the same moment.
It's called synchronicity, or perhaps something else. Who knows? We'll try and address that if we can. Synchronicity is in itself a fascinating topic. Kevin Ryerson is my guest. You might get a pencil and paper because I'm going to give him a chance to promo anything he wants when we get back after the break. He's been such a good soldier. This is Coast to Coast AM. I'm Art Bell. Let me also make note of two things. If you don't get enough hours of the show, or you want to get more hours of the program, a polite call or card sent to your local affiliate will probably accomplish that for you. Radio stations really do listen to their customers, you. In addition, I would like to notify you, the audience, and my board ops and the radio stations out there that carry us now, around 438 actually, that we do a pre-feed, which many are beginning to take. Quite a few large markets have begun to take it. As a matter of fact, we are now coming up on topping 100 pre-feed stations, and what that means simply is that we take, for example, the show that we're doing right now, and we begin repeating that at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, Pacific time, or 9 o'clock Eastern, so that if any station out there would like to pick up a little bit earlier in the evening and run the show that you're hearing now up into the live show, since so many people obviously miss the last hours of the program, they can do that. And if you would like to hear the show a little bit earlier, that which you missed the previous evening, a call to your affiliate might be in order, asking them to consider the pre-feed hours of the program. It's going really berserk. Now, Kevin, you've been such a good soldier tonight. Do you have a book or an email address or a contact piece of information that you would like to give out or promote?
Sure. I'd like to inform people that, one, they can reach me at my website, which you graciously had put on your own there.
Of course we have a link, yes.
And it's www.kevinryerson.com. We update that all the time. People could write me if they like at Ryerson at excite.com. And we constantly update programs, and if people wanted to, they could reach us personally and get a voice at the other end of the line at 415-356.
Wait a minute, 415, I'm getting a lot in a short time here. 415.
415-356.
Right.
9887.
9887.
And we could then update people on various programs that we're doing. I like the term think globally, shop locally. There's a program that I'm doing with the organization of which I'm on the board of directors of. It's called the Intuition Network. Dr. Jeffrey Mishlove, who you had on the program, is the president of that. And we are taking a group of people to Egypt in September, and that's with Power Places Tours. And that would be one of our global events. And people will have that opportunity to experience private time inside the Great Pyramid in the very sarcophagus that we were speaking of before, and they can explore what their own sensations would be. I'm personally taking a group to Scotland in the summer months, and we will be basing out of the Finhorn community, which to me is exciting because I look at it because it's famous for its gardens with its flowers that grew in winter. But I like to think of it as a community that its architecture was built by angels. And we're going to be going to megalithic sites very comparable to Stonehenge. As to the shop locally, I encourage people to really look for the resources in their own community. In my work with Shirley, one of the things that Shirley was most excited about was now almost become sort of like a New Age icon, was the Bodhi tree. in Los Angeles, which has now become a major resource community. And I encourage people to just look for what Buckminster Fuller called those trim tab in their own community. The trim tab is that little rudder that turned around the rudder that can bring around the whole ship of state. Just in Santa Rosa, California, I just made an appearance at a wonderful little store. It was called The Opened Heart. And the people there, for instance, are very, very dedicated to a lot of the principles that we're talking about in turning around, some of the types of events that we're talking about, and trying to get people in touch with their inner resources.
All right, and again, your email address, we should spell it for people in case they don't know how to spell your name. Your email address is Ryerson, that's Ryerson, @excite.com. Ryerson, Ryerson, @excite.com. All right, back to the phones we go. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Kevin Ryerson and Art Bell. Hi.
Good evening, Art and Kevin. First time, hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was on my cell phone, so I thought I might have went out. I have a question for the guests. First of all, I want to say I'm praying for Richard, and the world's a much more interesting place with him in it.
Yes, it is.
And, okay, I guess my question, I'll try to make it, I'll sum up the story quick, and it's a question for your guests. But in the Old Testament, there's a story where Abraham cut some cattle and some different animals. He, cut them in half, and then he went to sleep, and a darkness came over him. He was really afraid. But then a smoking pot flew through the pieces, to sort of sum it up. And I always sort of thought that maybe if there's a connection between cattle mutilations and maybe UFOs, where what the smoking pot that flew through the pieces that Abraham cut up was maybe what he thought was God, and maybe the cattle mutilations today are a sign that maybe of some sort, similar to what he did. And I wonder if your guest has ever thought anything about that, or if he's ever heard that, or
all right, well, let's
any further.
Sure, let's ask. Cattle mutilations are a modern phenomenon that has certainly not been answered.
Well, I think it's a fascinating interpretation, and certainly there's no lack of arguments, some of them quite well made, that events, seen in the Bible could be easily interpreted as, close encounters of the multiple kind. In particular, the most impressive to me is, of course, Ezekiel's wheel, which, when studied for its aerodynamics and its interpretations, makes a rather remarkable argument for such contacts being made by ancestors. I look at the what we call the cattle mutilations. If you look at them as almost more like surgical explorations on the part of whomever may be doing it in the form of extraterrestrials. We have become so dependent, for instance, on this as a main food staple. I could almost see them as sort of taking samples of it throughout all the ages to sort of see what it is that we're doing to ourselves in the form of a major source of nutrition.
Okay. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Kevin Ryerson and Art Bell. Good morning.
Oh, hi, Kevin. Like you were saying that, roughly 13,000 years ago was when the Sphinx was created, and it aligned with the constellation Leo.
Yes.
And then
Leo Virgo.
Yeah. And then, would that be the? Would you say? And then you said that the Atlantean age was before that time, but sort of ended at that time. Let's see. Like right now, we're entering the age of Aquarius, and then that's 180 degrees from the constellation Leo.
Mm-hmm.
So, would we be entering the new Atlantean age?
Quite interesting. The precession of the equinoxes seems to suggest that indeed there's a correlation between human behavior and advancements in civilization. Mm-hmm. And the Sphinx, theoretically, according to the esoteric history, would have been built about 2,000 years or so just before Atlantis was finally submerged, according to the Cayce readings. And I think that we are approaching what is called the age of Aquarius. And rather than the Piscean age, where these things are more an issue of faith, it's the idea that all these types of sciences that we are now discovering and being advanced by people, for instance, such as Richard Hoagland, is that it is now time for us to know these things, that we need to look at these things as psychic sciences that we can practice openly in the society, rather than these things being regulated or held back by mystery schools, or like there's some types of psychic industrial secrets.
Oh, like the age of Aquarius would mean that like the secrets, like Pisces is sort of secretive,
Yes.
and then hidden, and then Aquarius, everything opens up, so we'll be opened up to this sort of Atlantean knowledge.
I would say that's correct, and I would say that we're pretty much right on schedule, and all we have to do is make certain that we don't go through the same types of errors in allowing our dependence on technology to outstrip our psychic sciences and or our spirituality.